Hello, everyone. This is Amy. Welcome to Base and Boundaries, the absolute podcast that is going to be talking about all things mental health and music. So if that's your kind of thing, stick around for the next drop. Hello, everybody. I hope you're all doing well on this beautiful day. And to say I'm recording quite late in the evening, it's still pretty bright outside, which means that brighter days and better days are coming. Hooray. So, hope you are all doing well. Today's podcast is all about environmental factors that affect our mental health. This has been quite a buzz subject that I've seen mainly online. So if you are following me on Instagram or TikTok or wherever you're following me, you will know I've been doing daily messages for 15 seconds. It's just a little 15-second snippet of how I could potentially make your day feel a bit better and a bit nicer. And a lot of it is very much resonated and reciprocated. Yes? Yeah. So I have some ideas and inspirations that I wanted to share today in regards to life coaching, which is something that I'm very passionate about. I'm a qualified life coach. I've been doing it for the last 10 to 15 years. However, it's only been recently I've realised that actually I miss being self-employed, and it's something that I'm working towards again. I want to say by the end of this year, I'm going to be self-employed. I have given myself permission to go ahead and do what I want to do. And doing that is so powerful. Doing that makes you get those creative juices flowing, get back out there. And that's because I have been around some incredible people. I've been around people that do that for a living. They go around and be self-employed. They're very successful. I'm talking about musicians. I know people that have got their own cleaning business. If Sammy's watching, big up to you, sweetheart, because I know you do amazing. And I know she listens as well. But also, you know, people that go on social media, you know, people go, oh, an influencer isn't a job. But actually, we are all really influencing in our own way. I do it through the work that I do on these apps. I do a lot of videos about, and I do the podcast. The podcast was one of the biggest things about influencing positive mental health in people. And so I wanted to talk today because I know a few people that are dealing with quite a heavy depression, and I'm coaching a couple of them at the moment just for my portfolio, really, you know, to get experience back out there again. So I'm volunteering my time in doing that. And one individual had said to me that they feel depressed all the time, but when they tell me about their life, what's going on, a lot of it isn't them. A lot of it isn't them as a person. It's actually their environmental factors that are making them depressed. And I'm going to talk about that, how environments can make us ill, how environments can not give us what we need in that moment, and how can we change that. So I'm kind of giving you a little bit of a session as well today on a bit of life coaching. So one of the primary factors is that if you're in a job that you don't like, prime example, that's going to affect your mental health. My previous job, I worked at a large coffee chain, and I had a breakdown and I got signed off work because I was not being treated how I deserve to be treated. And I find that a lot of people that are in jobs, they don't like them because, you know, they're treated poorly, and it does have an impact on your mental health. I just moved my microphone just so it was a little bit more centered, so I wasn't sort of arched to one side. But, you know, for the most part, a lot of people, they're in jobs they hate. They're in housing that they don't like. You might live in an area that makes you feel depressed. You might, the company that you choose, you know, I can be the first person to tell you that I've had a toxic background with family, and, you know, and has it got better? Not really, no. It hasn't really. And I think, you know, we choose the company, and that's probably like the best thing that we can do is start to look at, first and foremost, look at your relationships. So one in particular, this one person that I'm coaching has a very toxic family. And although, you know, not everybody has the blessing to be able to just go, see you later, alligator, you know, some of us have to navigate toxic family relationships. So that would, then we would go into looking at how to set boundaries. And there are other factors as well. which I put in the course that I'm producing at the moment. But, there are lots of different factors and they're unique factors too. I always tailor my coaching around the person, because you can give somebody a generic coaching experience, but it might not necessarily work for them. So that's why I'm quite a person-led approach. So by doing the abilities to, to have that, that space to be able to go, these are my issues, I need to fix them, but I don't know how. And that's where people like me come in. So another factor would be work life. Every job that I've had, I've encountered difficulties, and I used to be the one that I grew up in a put up and shut up culture. So what does that look like? If you've got a problem with your boss, you say nothing. If you think of, countries that are under complete control, and you're not allowed to speak out because your social credit score might go down, or you're not allowed to do this because you might get locked up, you might, the freedom of speech kind of thing. I'm a firm believer in doing the absolute opposite. I speak up when I am not happy. I will speak up, and I've done this in every single job I've had. And that then makes me a problem, because it makes me not very liked by management. And, I have no regrets. I can sit here and tell you now, I regret nothing, because if I'm not going to speak up and stand up for myself, then who's going to? Yeah, because I've worked in jobs where I was treated so poorly. I did nothing. I just quit and just went, and they got away with it. I worked in a factory, and I got diagnosed with a medical problem, and I emailed it into HR, who then emailed it to my boss, and my boss told the whole factory. So I was going in and people were asking me about it, like, oh, how are you? I've been told you've been diagnosed with this. And I sit with it and I go, well, who's told you that? Well, such and such has told you that, has told us that, And as a factor, I didn't do anything. I just quit. And where's the injustice? It's right there, because there's no justice for me. There's no karma for her for doing that. And then I worked in a very busy front of house position as a supervisor. And, there were things like, luck has it that manager doesn't work there anymore. And I think that could have been the best thing for the remaining staff. But most of the staff left because they couldn't deal with her. She'd do things like, she'd sit in the corner after work and rate the servers out of 10. And like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Like, what is wrong with you to do that? So there was so much injustice. And, when it happened to me, I went straight to HR, but HR was besties with the manager. And, I didn't win anything with that one. So I just went, whatever, karma's going to do its thing. And karma did do its thing. Let me tell you, I can't go to the ins and outs of it because I want to get sued, but karma did its thing. And I loved that. After that happened, I then went to, say, there's a large coffee chain, started working there. And I just got so ill with the excess hours, the surplus responsibility. It wasn't for me overall. And I left. And I did that for me. I didn't have a backup plan. It was just, I'm going to go. And then this job that I'm working in now offered me this position, and I just snapped the hand off because it was something I always wanted to do. But it doesn't mean to say that I've got any grievances. I will still go in that restaurant and eat. I will still go to my coffee shop and get what I want from there. I get an Americano. I will still go in because I left behind so many beautiful people and I'm so grateful for them. However, I had to get out for my mental health and my sanity, for if anything. I've always wanted to go into music. I've always wanted to make my own and create my own music. I do vocals, but I don't, again, it's getting out there in the right environment, the right time, getting yourself out there when everything is so algorithm based too. It's very difficult. I get maybe 7 to 8 plays on this podcast and I already know that it's going to take off because I envisioned it to be. People call it manifesting. I call it wishing, because one of my friends that's quite a spiritual guru said that actually manifestation is quite an earthly thing. Like, you want to go higher, you want to go up to the top tier of spiritual warfare. You wish, you pray, you do those things, and if it's meant to be, it will be. But I already know it's going to happen because I envisioned it too, and I've manifested that. I'm just going to say how it is, manifested that. However, a lot of people, they think they're not capable of these things, and you absolutely are. And that's, like I say, there's people like me that want to help you achieve your goals, that want to help you do what you need to do and be successful in doing so. Because I believe that other people like myself that go around helping people, they're so successful in what they do. And I think, well, that's why I was put on this earth, to help people, and I tried to figure that out for years, and I figured it out, and that's what I want to do. So I think the takeaway from this as well today is that you are able to do what you want to do. You just have to believe that you can. And if you don't believe that you can, let me or somebody else help you get there. Yeah, because I want to help people. That's my role on this planet. That's my godly duty. That's my universal duty, whatever you believe in. That's my duty. That's why I'm here. And you might be sat at home going, I want to do this, but, I've been told all my life I can't do that. I've been told that I'm not able to do that. You absolutely can. Let's meet you where you are. Okay? So if you're going to take anything from this today, sometimes mental health is influenced and impacted by other things. It doesn't make you crazy. It doesn't make you any less of a person because you have anxiety. I hear it all the time. I'm crazy. I'm this. You're putting bad words into yourself. So your brain's going to start believing those words. What if we change that? What if we flip that on its axis and gone, I'm beautiful. I'm absolutely fabulous. And I know that's going to be uncomfortable because sometimes I don't think that about myself. Sometimes I struggle because I don't have a support system. So I have to be my own cheerleader. I have to love myself so much. And when I pulled away from getting everyone else to love me and starting to love myself, these miracles started happening. So I want to help other people get to that place where you feel like I do right now. Absolutely nothing's going to stop me. Like, I'm going to go out and do these things that I want to do because I'm confident in doing so. And I do have people, I work around people, I have been around people, that might not necessarily believe that. But that's okay, because not everyone's going to believe that you're the most sensational human being on this planet, my love. But I think you are. Let me help you get to that point where you also think that you are, right? I always see a light in people, and that goes back to my spiritual roots. I see a light in people, and I see I see a light, and it's kind of like I've been around musicians in particular where I've sat with them and I've gone, wow, I see light radiating off you. I can read your aura. You're an absolute pure soul. But I've also met people that are not so much, that are just lost. And, and I say, friends and family and people that don't want the best for you. There are people out there that do want the best for you. So allow them in. Okay. Allow those people that really do give a crap about you to let them in. And then when you do that, you start to feel brilliant, but also being your own best friend. I spend a lot of time on my own. I can tell you right now on my phone how many group chats I'm in. I can tell you, let's click on it, groups. I'm in 25 group chats. Do I participate in any of them? Not really. But my like little besties chat or my work chat, whatever, I do. And yet I spend so much time on my own, but I'm okay with it. Like, I am so happy and content in going to get a coffee on my own because sometimes I prefer it. I get what we call social. I need to socially, retreat. Sometimes I've got a lot of social battery issues. Like I get very much very drained of energy very quickly. So I have to kind of conserve that. So when I'm working from home in particular, it is an absolute godsend for me because I work from home during the day and I'm not talking to people unless it's on Teams. So actually that was quite a breakthrough for me, having that flexibility of going to the office or staying at home. But I know for a life coach perspective, I'm going to need to have that workplace life balance, because I used to do this in my old job when I was doing life coaching. I would take on everybody else's problems as my own. But by doing that, I then took on some of their habits too. So you have to have that professional sort of boundaries. And that's what I work towards as well. So, I'm not perfect by any standards. I will never sit there and say I'm perfect, but I am so much better than what I was 3 years ago. I have my journals from 3 years ago. I was really struggling with myself because of other people. So when I tell you that sometimes it is not you that's the problem, it's your environment, it can change everything. But if you need any help with that, you know where to find me on all social media. So I'm going to finish this video off today because I know that we all have a busy life and we all have things to do. I know I do. So this week I have been listening to some new stuff, and I'm going to scroll down because I can't find them. But I've actually been listening to some podcasts this week. So I'm going to give some fellow podcasts out, a shout. And again, you don't have to listen to them. You don't have to engage in these things if it's not for you. That's okay. So there is a weight loss thing that I did. I did a podcast weight loss show. It must have been about 9 months ago, but it actually recently got released. So it's called The Weight's Over by Sandra Roycroft Davis. I did her program on weight loss, and it's like how it changes your mindset and stuff, and it's actually really good. My story is on there. You'll see me. You have to scroll down a bit, but I am on there, and I was so happy when it got released, because again, I did not think, oh, there I am. So it's called Taking Back Control, Amy's Journey from Food Obsession to Freedom. So I talk very openly about how I've had a food problem in the past, and it led to an eating disorder, and I'm in remission. I'm in complete recovery for that, which is awesome. And I've also been listening to there is a podcast about, if you like true crime, which I do, I love true crime, you'll like this one. It's called British Murders with Stuart Blues. Really, really great podcast. But also Dawn of the New Earth by this guy called Morg. And don't be alarmed by his pictures, because he does, I don't know why, I'm going to show you on the screen, I don't know why he does the whole Illuminati thing, but here we are. But he talks about the banned books in faith and stuff like that, and talks about, it's really interesting actually. It just gives you a different perspective. Not many people believe in it. I'm very open-minded. So things I do in private, I research religion, I research spiritual faith, I know so much about, I'm a bit of a sponge when it comes to, I'm such a sponge, but I just found Gnostic texts quite fascinating, and I just wanted to read into it really. So if you're interested in that sort of thing and you like to learn about different religions, faiths, belief systems, you'll really enjoy that, because it just makes you look at things in different ways. And no judgment if you don't want to do that either. I'm just really sort of open-minded. It's just what I enjoy doing. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I have got some belters of some guests coming up this week. Oh my goodness. So I have got the one and only Jeannie B from the ASMR culture that I absolutely love. So Jeannie B ASMR, I actually feature on her channel once as well. We actually met up in York. She's incredible, the most incredible soul, incredible human being. I'm actually interviewing her on Wednesday evening, so hopefully it will be. So the podcast is going to be aired Thursday, early Friday morning. So you'll be able to listen to that on your commute. I've got so many other guests lined up. I'm so excited. So anyways, my loves, thank you all so much for watching as always. If you want to feature on Base and Boundaries, I've actually got a new email address, so I'm going to put that in the description. It's amy@baseandboundaries.blog. Okay. I bought a URL and I bought a domain, and I just went with it. So it's baseandboundaries.blog. As you can see, the website's pants. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not very good with WordPress, so I'm just kind of leaving it. But you'll find me on all social medias, Base and Boundaries. Come and say hi if you are into things like wig wearing, which is what I do, and also all things mental health. You will find me on all social media platforms. So thank you all so much for watching. Absolutely sending you all my love. And just remember, You're amazing. You're fantastic. You deserve every ounce of happiness in this world. And if you need me for anything, you know where to find me. Take care. Bye.